Good day. This is my third yoga sequence for Spirit Sadhana School of Yoga. This one I call the Shakti Sequence. This one is inspired by postures, stretches, visualizations, etc. that rouse the Shakti internally. So a lot of hip work, a lot of groin work, a lot of maybe Kundalini. It is not based on Kundalini yoga specifically, but on things that actually have created the Shakti force inside of me due to my experience. So once again, long holds, mainly stretching the hips, hamstrings, legs, and then finish it with an intense pranayama and a meditation to bring up energy. So now let's begin. As usual, hands to your heart, gather your energy, relax. You're in a seated position on your mat. Create your intention, any intention that you wish, or follow the intention to bring up your deep internal creative energy, your life-giving energy, the divine Shakti. We are all intimately connected. Bring your hands to your forehead. Bring your hands to the sky. Bring your hands down. Gather energy. Pull to your heart. Hands to your forehead. Stretching to the sky. Stretching left and right. Back down. Gather energy. Pull up. Heart. Head. Heavens. Back down. It's a little Qigong exercise I do pretty much before every yoga session. Assisting our torus field of energy, rounding out our aura, whatever one wishes to call it. Now push energy out in front of you. Bring your hands down and up to the heart. Push energy out in front of you. Sides. Bring energy up. Push it from the heart outward. You are giving love and compassion to all beings. Heart outward. Gather energy. Bring it to the heart. Give it to the world. Bring your energy up and down in front of you. Pull your energy up, down in front of you. With your fingers, pull your energy up to the sky and graze it in front of you, downward. To the sky, back down to earth, pulling up to the sky, now to the sides. Okay. Arms and wrists stretched out, twist your arms, joint rotations and warm-ups now. Do as you see fit, as many or as little as you feel you need, but here we will warm up all the mobility points of our body, twisting our arms, the spiral muscles, triceps, biceps, forearms. Now rotating our wrists with arms outstretched. Make a fist, move your fingers, get your life and your consciousness into your hands and your wrists. Okay, bring your hands down to the heart. Let go. Time to stretch our neck. Do some neck rotations. The cervical spine, linking the skull and the brain to our spinal cord, often influenced by bad posture these days with lots of desk work and computer. So hold your head back, wiggle back and forth, kind of counterbalance possible bad postures that happen in life. Do this fluidly and freely, working out your particular kinks, points of tension. Don't go too fast. You don't want any whiplash style effects. You can turn your head to the side with chin over shoulder, holding there. And do the other side. Grab the side of your head, pull it down to your shoulder, stretching one side of your neck. Other side. Lean your head back. You can grab your knees to support yourself and lean back. Bring your head forward. Kind of give yourself a little wiggle. Head and neck back. Kind of stretching the spine as well. And curling forward. Back. And forward. Almost like doing cat-cow, but in the half lotus or seated position. Move to your shoulders, give them some rotations. Make sure to do both directions. Try to stay conscious and mindful of every point in the circuit. Every point. Bring your shoulders up and down. Stretch them up to your ears. Back and down to your butt. Hold it up to your ears. Back and down to the floor. You can hold your shoulder with one hand and extend the arm, doing little rotations, little circles, both directions. Do both sides. Hold your top of your forearm, do wrist rotations without having your forearm move, isolating the wrist mobility. Do a few circles in both directions. Do both hands, holding just under the wrist firmly and doing wrist rotations, making sure the arm does not move much. Obviously, some motion will happen, but this is to make sure it doesn't twist more so. While seated, lean to one side, stretching the side of your body, extending your hand as far as you can, resting on your elbow. Do the other side, stretch the side of your body, reach as far as you can. Once again. Other side. Back up. Do a little twist. Push against your knee to give yourself a boost. Other side. Left hand on knee. Twist the spine. And right hand on knee, my bad. Now, let's bring your leg out. We're going to leave seated position. We're going to grab our foot and help twist and turn our ankle on top of our other leg. We're going to be on our feet a lot every day in yoga, in life. Give some love to your feet and to your ankles. Put your feet outward. Just do some rotations. Bring your ankle on top of your other leg with your hand. Help give it some gentle rotations, some smooth circles. Okay. Bring your feet together, the soles of your feet touching one another. We're going to do Baddha Konasa or butterfly pose. Holding your feet with your hands, pushing down on your legs with your elbows, you have bad hips, be very gentle here. Rock back and forth, opening up the hips. Push down on one side. Stretch, push down on the other side. Push down on your knees to extend even more. Now you can flap your legs, just like a butterfly. While you do this, try to straighten your spine. Being mindful of the spine throughout the practice is extremely important. You can use your hands to move your legs back and forth, holding the knees, kind of easing them back into life. You can grab one hand and push it against the ground, the back side of your hand resting on the floor, stretching the wrist in the direction that we usually do not put it. You can hold your fingers with your opposite hand. Now do the other side. Back of hand on the ground, flexing that wrist. Swaying back and forth to just give it some love. You can do both hands. I like to wiggle my fingers here, kind of get my nervous system activated in a unique, odd way, in a position that it almost never does. Don't put too much weight on them. This is why I'm rocking back and forth, to just disperse the weight. Moving my fingers and coordination, making sure my consciousness is present, pressing down on the knuckles, the back of the fingers, giving every joint, even the little finger joints, some love. Now we're going to do Janu Sursasana. Raise your hands to the sky, straight spine, head to knee, hold your foot. Obviously you can place your hands on your shins or your knee and just go as far as is comfortable. But here we hold. Stretching the right leg. Lengthening the back. The sole of our opposite foot on our inner thigh. Kind of press my toes and hold my foot, give it a slight massage, but I also mainly pull a little bit on my foot to increase my stretch. Come on out of it. Now stretch your side. Instead of stretching forward, we face the direction of our opposite knee and stretch the side of our body. This really stretches the left side. Holding the foot, holding firmly to keep us in the stretch. Loosening up the fascia, loosening up the legs. A lot of energy, repressed emotions, Shakti, creative life force resides in our legs, our thighs, our hips, our groins. Now, bring your heel in almost to like a half lotus position and doing Janusirsasana this way. With our heel at our pelvis, like in lotus, we press against our groin and it brings up our force. Look up, lengthen the spine, and come back down. If you want to reposition and increase the stretch, you can do this a couple times or as much as you need. You can relax the stretch and then come back into it deeper. Sometimes with our belly pressing against the foot in this position, it can be tough. So don't go all the way down if it is extra uncomfortable. Come out of it. Stretch up, making a 90-degree angle. Come forward, stretching both legs. Paschimottanasana. Just the regular forward fold. Kind of bobbing into it. Bringing our forehead towards our knees. Using our feet as leverage with our hands and arms pulling. Some of these poses I find are very relaxing. Extend your spine. Try to get it straight. Come out of this pose. We're going to switch sides. Janusirsasana, sole of your right foot against your left inner thigh. Reach to the sky, come down, grab your foot, forehead to knee. Be aware of your breath. Be aware of the parts of your body that become stretched. The tendons in your ankle, the tendons behind your knee, your right lower back, maybe even your neck a little bit. Here I'm pushing against my toes, giving them a little love, just like I did the fingers. Reach to the sky. Come stretching down sideways now. You can put the left elbow down on the ground beside the knee, in front or behind, either or. Once again, this is stretching the lower back side and holding your foot, making sure you don't leave the stretch. It's important to give these some time. The body isn't as fast as we would like it to be. Holding these poses helps it adjust. helps it learn. Come out of the pose, bringing your heel to your pelvis, the right heel to the left pelvis, half lotus with the foot, stretching up, Janusirsasana, head to knee. In poses like this, I sometimes do Mula Bandha, especially with the intention of rousing the Shakti, stirring the energy that relies at the base of our spine, in the organs of our sacrum. In life, we often are aroused by very specific things, but if we can be aroused just by remembering Shakti, just by remembering the goddess, it can create a lot of well-being, joy, and bounty in our lives. So breathe into your sacrum, breathe into your legs, breathe into your toes. Stretch up to the sky, holding your toes. Come back down. Being with the stretch. Lengthening the spine a little bit. Coming back down. Life has an infinite variety of experiences. Some are seemingly uncomfortable, like stretches. When we can create equanimity in long stretches, can teach us to create equanimity in daily life. Come on out of the pose, sit up. Legs outstretched in front of you. Kind of make sure your spine is straight and slowly come down into Shavasana position. We're going to pull one knee to the opposite side. Do a spinal twist. Left knee to right side. Left hand and arm outstretched. And look to your left. Do not let the left shoulder leave the floor. And slowly try to bring your left knee down to the floor as well. It's a nice gentle spinal twist, but it also stretches the inner thigh, groin area. I find stretches like these hold a lot of repressed pleasure, a lot of repressed goodness. Have your left ankle against your right knee now, and pull the back of your right leg forward towards your chest. This is one of my favorite stretches, stretching the inside of the left leg. a little tug, come on out of it. Now with your right leg, grab your knee, pull it to the floor over your top of your left leg. Look to your right. Spinal twist. Here you'll see that I slowly make my right knee towards the ground, not having my right shoulder leave the floor. Breathe into the stretch. Breathe out. Increase the stretch. Breathe into the stretch, creating relaxation. And as you breathe out, you can push your knee closer to the ground. Now right ankle on top of left knee, grab the back of your left knee and pull towards your chest, stretching your right thigh. Give it a little tug, test out where your stretch is. Now release both of your legs back down to the floor, up into Navasana, into boat pose. You hold this for a few seconds. Don't mind any shaking, any jolting. Just do your best to keep your balance, to keep your core strong, to keep your legs strong, creating that V. Come out of it when you need. So we're going to do Agni Stambhasana, fire log pose. This is one of the most elusive poses to me. Hands to the sky, stretch your spine, and then stretch forward with your left calf directly on top, or your right calf directly on top of your left. Stretch forward, rest down on it. You can place your forehead on your forearms, on your fists. You don't have to come down all the way if it's too much. You can use your arms to pull yourself up. But if you can, slowly come into a restful position on top of your legs. Once again, inner thigh stretch. Very simple pose, very effective. Loving, calm, deep breaths in, bringing your air, your mind, and your energy towards that very deep inner stretch, helping it relax. You can always push on your knees or pull with your hands to stretch out your spine farther. kind of like to hook my ribs above the shin of the top leg, and it kind of makes the stretch even better. Come out of it when you're ready. It's a very interesting posture. Kind of wiggle your leg. Bring your right knee to the sole of your left foot. Kind of a zigzag pose here. Kind of press down where that stretch was. Move your spine, move your weight. Feel out how to balance it. Kind of give yourself a twist, or you can press down. We stretch that inner thigh in one direction, now we stretch in the other, just to make sure we're giving a well-rounded form of attention to it. Kind of give it a massage. Pull your knee up, shake everything out. Now opposite side, Agni Stambhasana. So left calf over right calf, stacking the legs. Directly on top of each other. Then we stretch our hands to the sky, lengthening our spine. And then diving forward. I like to pull with my fingers to give myself an even deeper stretch. Lay on top of your leg. Once again, if this is too much, you can place your forehead on 2 fists or just your hands. You can even just hold yourself up with extended arms. As always, wherever your line of stretch is, where that wall of tension and pain, just edge towards it and relax near it. Breathing deep. Breathing in to that locked area in the hips. Not everybody is locked here. Not everybody is repressed in various ways, but our ancestry has given a lot of taboo to this part of the body, a lot of oppression as well, not just repression. And I think we are often afraid of joy and bliss. Breathing into this physical part of the world, we can unlock mental, emotional parts. If you wish to deepen the stretch, palms on the knees, using your strength of your arm to push forward to lengthen the spine. Come back down. Oftentimes what comes with bliss is uncertainty, facing the unknown, surprise, spontaneity, various levels of loudness, of song and dance, of peculiarities. We are often conditioned to avoid these behaviors, avoid that. We want things to be predictable and composed and not disturbing of others. And while there's a compassion and consideration in not disturbing others, there's a suppression of our true nature, of our true potential. So come out of this pose, grab your left knee, give your leg a little wiggle. We're going to bring the left knee to the sole of the right foot. Once again, just placing our weight in the opposite stretch, holding our leg, being gentle, unlocking the Shakti inside the sacrum, the thighs and the hips and the groin. This is a part of the world that created us, created all the life of humankind. It is good to appreciate it, to give it flow, to loosen it up. Wiggle out your leg, wiggle out that inner tension. We're going to come into Upavista Konasana, seated straddle. Kind of extend your legs as much as you can. Keep your feet at a 90-degree angle most of the time. Kind of stretches the legs as much as possible. Straight spine with the hands to the sky. We'll first go down to one side. We'll do our right side. Forehead to knee. Hold your foot. Appreciate our potential for joy and pleasure, especially if we can derive pleasure without needing to harm any animal or ecosystem, without extracting resources, without needing another person to conform to our mind or our desires. We can create a lot of love in this world. That's the intention I hold for this sequence. Play with the stretch. You can look up, use one hand, bob your spine towards your knee. You can kind of place your hands under your calves to push the stretch a little further. We'll do the left side now. Forehead to knee. Try to keep your buttocks on the ground. Holding these poses for as long as you can if necessary. Unlocking any little bubbles of laughter, of tears, of uncertainty, of fear, of sexual presence, memories, anything that's inside there. We won't know until we open the door, or until we start going into that area of our body. Making sure our legs are still stretched out. We're going to stretch forward now. Here I'm just strengthening and lengthening my spine, holding the straddle position, making sure my feet don't come together. Hands to the sky, kind of rotating my wrists here to just pull up my neck and head as far as I can, and now leaning forward. Do as best as you can. I have quite a bit of stiffness here. This is as far as I can go. swaying back and forth, fleshing out that stretch with the spine and hands on the ground. Kind of sinking into the trusting the stretch, trusting the body. It can handle a lot more than we think it can handle. We don't have to throw it off the deep end, but we can definitely challenge it. Kind of grab your toes and pull yourself forward. That's what I'm doing here. Using my arms to go deeper into the stretch. I find when I relax my ankles, I can go deeper into the stretch as well. Giving my legs some love, some gentle massage so that the stretch does not feel too intense. I do personally like to go past that wall of pain, and I've kind of experienced a trust for my body in that regard, but please do not force yourself too far. Go to where is comfortable. Putting my head on my fists. This is where I'm comfortable. This is a more relaxing position for me. Go to where you feel you can rest. And this way we can really open up our hips. Kind of doing a little twist here. I felt the stretch very deeply in the back of my knees, so I'm just rubbing them here and holding them. Doing a little butterfly pose. Grabbing my knees and coming up. Here we're going to do some leg lifts while standing. Just lift your leg to the side, do some little leg lifts. The purpose of this is to do a little bit of strengthening and not just stretching in the hips, hamstrings area, so on and so forth, because when you stretch something too much, you can rip the tendons a little bit, and this can be unhealthy, mainly if it's done a lot. But if we create strength, we rebuild some of the muscle around there. This is just to keep balance. If you ever heard of yoga butt, doing little strengthening exercises of the deeper muscles is a good remedy or a precaution. Stretching the sides of the body, moving the spine back and forth. Pushing against the hip, kind of stretching it out. You can do hip rotations if you like. showing an all-around love and compassion to this part of the body in this sequence. I don't like too much of any one thing, any one type of movement. The diverse movement is very healthy, very much appreciated by the body. So these deep hip rotations. Now, you're going to spread the legs. We are going to do Cossack lunges. We come and we pulse one knee in like a one-sided squat, and we stretch the other leg on the heel. This does both a deep stretch and a very, very effective strengthening exercise. Could be considered a variation of Parigasana. But really, this is just for loving the hips, giving them as much attention and strength as we can. And we do this till failure. That's how you build muscle. That's how you build strength in the body the most effectively. This is how you learn about yourself, learn about your limits, where you're at in life. By going to our failure point, we can observe the mind. When you get to a point where it's hard to go up again, just rest on your toes, the other leg stretched, resting on the heel. And we're going to twist the leg back and forth, stretching that whole leg and especially the inner thigh of that leg. Getting all these different tiny micro points of stretch. You can hold that part of your body with your hand and just have your foot come down, knee forward, pressing into that inner thigh. Holding it here. Twisting the leg to the other side. Trying to twist the whole leg in unison, not just the ankle or the knee. Back and front. Turning it around. There's a lot of little stretches in here. This is just getting a bunch of them at once. Using the ankle and the toes and the foot to just stretch it in many different directions. Okay, come back up. Do just a couple more Cossack lunges on both sides. Now, rest on the other side. Standing on your right toes, if that's the side you're on. Stretching out your left leg, heel to the floor. And put your hand on the ground, hand on the hips and thighs to support yourself, and we twist the foot and twist the leg, turning in and out, forward and up, forward and back, just experiencing what each position feels like. I really love feeling out these deep inner thigh stretches. I find they feel a lot different than other stretches. When you move the foot and ankle and twist the leg to the back, twist it forward, you may feel all these different, sharp, odd stretches on your inner thigh and groin area. I find that they feel almost good, whereas sometimes a stretch of the leg or shoulder or ankle, whether it's a back bend or a forward bend, they may feel more like pain, more like pulling, whereas this feels like, to me, buttons are being pressed. Little bubbles of bliss are being popped. So twist your whole leg, twist it back and forth. Kind of support your body with your hands on the ground, maybe with one hand on your leg. Test out the stretch, test out where you feel things. Come out of it when you're ready. Once again, a few more on each side, a few more pulsating Cossack lunges or side squats. Just tripling up on strengthening that area. We're going to come into a standing straddle or the splits. Padottanasana, if you can. Prasarita Padottanasana. With head to the floor, or as far as you can go. For me, my elbows to the floor is plenty. You can just put your hands on the floor, whatever you need. You might find your leg slip, as long as it's not pulling your stretch too far. I find that's okay. You can walk yourself to one side. Stretch out that one leg by looking at the other. In a lot of my sequences, I'm able to hold my poses a lot longer, but because of the soreness and stiffness and various sensations in my hips, I cannot hold these ones extremely long. Make sure you do both sides. Walking back and forth if you need. You don't need to stay too long on one side if it's too much. Now come on up. We're going to clasp our hands behind our back to a variation where we lean forward, hands to the sky. This kind of stretches out our shoulders and upper back as well. And kind of move it from side to side if you need. I'm just repositioning here, hands on the ground, lengthening my spine, just firming my feet because I was sliding too much. I'll just wiggle in, out this stretch. I'm going to go back into the splits with the hands clasped behind the back. With a newfound, more stable position. Now I'm able to put my head on the floor, have the hands point out in front of my body. And if you can, with your abs, pull back up. I'm just going to walk my feet towards each other, slowly coming out of the splits. Alright, so come down to your mat. It's one of the final positions. It's headstand. We've opened up our channels below, our Shakti, our hips, our groin, our sacrum. And now we're going to let that energy fall towards our crown. So, elbows and forearms on the ground, making a triangle, hands clasped, putting the cerebellum or the back of the skull into the palms, making a firm hold, coming into kind of dolphin pose, and using the abs to bring the legs up, making them as straight as you can to the sky. Here I was a little off, my legs are not perfectly straight. Sometimes as you become more and more fearless, easing into the balance, the legs will straighten up to the sky even further. And here you can play with your legs. You can do the splits, kind of let the gravity and the weight of your legs open up your hips in a way that wasn't going to happen in the other poses. Here I'm like twisting my ankles and turning them, just feeling out the balance and the hip stretch here. Bringing my legs back up. Trying to keep them as straight as possible. Obviously, if you cannot do this pose, try another inversion like Salama Sarvangasana or shoulder stand, or just stay in child's pose. Come out of headstand. I always give my neck a little massage, a little wiggle, to just make sure there wasn't too much compression. So we're going to come into a lotus or half lotus position. I'm going to do full lotus for this section. Position yourself comfortably. Get a pillow to sit on or a block. I like to do pranayama in full lotus. I find it does something as it pulls on my spine on both sides. Pranayama we are going to do is a version of Kapalabhati I learned a few years ago, where there is 2 retentions of breath after we do the breath of fire. To begin, I say a prayer. I gather energy from below. I pull it to my mouth. Gather my Shakti. Pull it to my mouth. Gather my Shakti. Pull it to my mouth. Offer it to the Lord. Offer it to the universe. Shakti up. Out to God. Shakti up. Out to the heavens. Bring up your energy. Let it leave your being into the world. Now with hands on knees and whatever mudra you prefer, with a straight spine, a relaxed figure, start to take some deep breaths in. I often start my pranayama with doing a sort of Wim Hof style, where I breathe in and a gentle exhale, but fill my lungs, like trying to keep the lungs full to get as much air into the body as possible. Take deep, relaxing breaths and begin to forceful exhales. We're going to do this about 100 times. Contracting the abdomen in on every out breath, forcing out our air, cleansing our body. And breathe out through your nose forcefully, as if you're pushing out all your toxins. This also brings energy up as you are contracting your abdomen on every out breath. Breathe out all your air on the last breath and hold. Hold. You have no air in your lungs or body. This teaches your body to remain relaxed in stressful conditions. Hold for about 20 seconds and gently breathe in and gently breathe out. At this stage, we don't want to go until our body is contracting and spasming. Just go until you feel that inner electricity. Take some gentle breaths here. We're going to fill up our lungs 70% and then hold. Here we hold for double time, about 40 seconds. The body now has oxygen, enough to sustain itself, but not 100%. Teaching yourself to be content have. After about 40 seconds or 40 internal counts, we will gently breathe out that air and gently breathe in. I like to imagine as if the air I'm breathing in is reaching my crown and my whole body, my toes and my fingers. We'll do the fire breath again, forceful exhales. 110 this time. Persistent, try your best to make it even, keeping a rhythm. With the lower amount of oxygen in your body, that can be difficult sometimes. That's okay. As you reach the 110 mark, breathe out all your air and hold. With no air in your lungs, relax and hold your breath. We're doing about 25 seconds this time, every round increasing a little bit. As your body wants air, don't react aggressively. Breathe in gently, breathe out gently. This is the continuation of the pranayama, controlling the craving of the breath. Couple gentle breaths here, calm, relaxed. And you fill your lungs to 70%, and then you hold. We're going to hold for 50 seconds. I count by tapping my thumb and my finger together. Learning to not react to the changes in the body, to the movement of the blood, to any of the stress in the neurons. Just holding it for the allotted time. As our body grasps for more energy, it'll create lactic acid and it will pull up energy from deeper seated parts of the body, allowing us to access a greater Shakti. After the 50 seconds, gently breathe your air out. Calmly breathe it back in. And relax. Breathe into your whole body. Relax. You're detoxing the things you don't need, and re-establishing balance. Now back to the breath of fire, Kapalabhati. forceful out breaths, pulling the abdomen and stomach in on every out, raising our Kundalini up, here we will do 120 out breaths. Almost automatically, sometimes I find I do a pulsation of Mula Bandha and Kapalabhati, like a automatic response, helping stimulate that Shakti energy. As we near the 120 mark, breathe out all the air, holding for 30 seconds now. This is usually the hardest one. Don't wait till your body is contracting too much. Remain in such a way that when you breathe back in, you do it with control, with pleasance. I sometimes go longer on the third one, just as long as I can, even if it's more than 30 seconds. As long as I breathe in gently like this, and breathe out gently, and the prana is balanced and remaining easily in your control, in your field. Relaxed breath, breathing into the tummy, breathing into the heart, 70%, holding for 60 seconds. Similarly, I sometimes go longer here, just holding it as much as I can, allowing that energy in the base of our spine, in our groin, to spiral up, to come and do its healing work, bringing rejuvenation to wherever needs it. The more we let it do its thing and not react, the higher our vibration may be. It isn't the only way to raise our vibration, but it can be a very stimulating and effective way. Wherever your limit is, breathe out calmly. Breathe in a big, deep, controlled breath. We're going to fill our lungs, fill our lungs, fill our lungs. Almost do the opposite now. Breathing in, filling every cell and every pore, every nook and cranny with new, fresh oxygen. It's very helpful to do this around plants or in nature, so that when you refill your lungs at this portion, you have healthy air rather than polluted air. Just gently filling up every part of our body. Hands into prayer position. Now we're going to come out of the pranayama. I'm coming out of full lotus into a more relaxed seated position. Just giving a little massage to my ankle because it was sore after that full lotus position. And take a break here. Give yourself a massage or a wiggle. Make sure your feet and your legs aren't falling asleep at the moment. We're going to come back into seated position, into meditation position. We're going to do about a 15-minute meditation. Set your intention. Feel your being. Be aware that you are here, you are alive. Again, tiny bit of pranayama, a tiny bit of qigong, just breathing in, hands to the sky, breathe out. Breathing in, hands to the sky, breathe out. Energy pulling up to the heavens again. This meditation that we're about to do is about bringing that pleasant energy in our base that tingles, that tickles, that's arousing, that's attractive, that's mysterious, that Shakti that birthed us from our two parents, the Shakti that birthed all life between the sun and the earth. In whatever free form visualization, any creative mental imagery and movement, imagine the energy from your base rising up into your body. It can pulsate, it can bloom like a flower, and then close for the night, and then bloom again, and then close. It can be an orb that expands, encompassing our organs and our bones and our skin, and then it can contract back into our pelvis. Let your unique being visualize this in the way that it must. If you get distracted, that's all fine and dandy. That's part of the creative life force in flow. But just come back to feeling that tingle in the pelvis expand into your body, into your legs, into your intestines and stomach. And then it can come to a little rest, and it expands even farther to the knees, to the ribs, and to the lungs, to the elbows and the arms, and falls back down into the sacrum. And it expands, encompassing your whole body. Just focus on that positive, pleasurable, tingling force. Let it creatively reach every part of your being. Our Shakti is filled with infinite energy, infinite possibility. It is a light of many, many colors. It is a love of many, many ways. Let that love submerge into your entire being. Let it rise up your spine, spiraling and dancing, coming into your skull and your brain, coming out the top of your head, being completely free to do what it needs to balance out the world and create a realm with as little suffering as possible. I'll leave you here. Trust your Shakti. Allow it to rise. When you're ready, you can come out of your meditation. Let your body relax. Let things happen as they must now. And do some ohms.
Om Shakti Shakti Shakti. Om Shakti Shakti Shakti. Om.
Thank you to God. Thank you to whomever is watching. Bless you and your way. May love shine on you.